What up, what up? It is Monday, and it's a new week. I'm actually a minute early. Here I am. Here you are. Glad you're here. My name is Scott Redler. I am Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. This is what I call the 630 Club, where my dogs around the world, we discuss a few ideas, what's happening in the news, what's controlling the market narrative, where we can make some money, a few if-then type of situations to figure out what's next. You know, a lot of people say, Red Dog, was Thursday the low of 2022? I'm like, well, you know what Thursday was? It was a great spot to switch gears. Thursday was a spot that I've spoken about right here, probably for the last 2 months, saying at 38.50, 385 in the SPYs. Maybe we cover some shorts, look for some longs, and see if we get some kind of oversold bounce, which, we're trying to figure out if it's going to last or not. So let me say good morning to some of my friends. What up, CV Garcia? How you doing? Good morning from India. Good to see you. Good to see you. What up, Queens? A little closer than India. Who else we got? I know it's 6:30. I got you guys a little off guard. Hopefully you got your iced coffee. You're getting yourself together. Mr. Scott. Who's Mr. Scott? What up, North Dakota? How you doing? I heard there's actually supposed to be a tornado coming here later. When I'm supposed to be having lacrosse practice, when I'm getting ready for Chatham, who's undefeated. Yes. Tornado in New Jersey. Anyway, what up, Austin? How you feeling? What up, San Diego? Got a little Carly Simon today. It's more like my mom's music, but sometimes I don't. I just say, I give Alexa the. Now she thinks I'm talking to her. Anyway, what up, P-Train? How you doing? Who else we got? Let's say a few more. We got Belmore, Long Island. How you doing? How you doing? Are we oversold? Yeah, we're minus 13 on the oscillator. We hit minus 75 on Thursday. So we're a little oversold, not severe. But sometimes you go from oversold to neutral to a little overbought, so we'll see. Where's it? We got no hits today. Where any of my friends from Ukraine tuning in? I know you guys haven't been trading as much, and if you're trading, you're in the Tashkent office, or you're in Cyprus or in Dubai, not in the Kiev office, which is unfortunate because that was a gorgeous office. They'll be back there soon, I promise, or hopefully. Twilight Zone? What do you mean, me? What do you know? How's it going, Shogun? Oh, there's it. All right, let's all stretch it out a little bit. By the way, I do turn 50 this year, and no one believes me, but now you can see I got the gray over here. That's where it comes in. I will be shaving at lunchtime, so I could be on Fox Business later, but this morning, I felt like keeping the gruff. The gruff. We're all in the gruff, right? Right? Nova Scotia. You like it? My wife doesn't really like it. Chase doesn't like it either. Chase, we had a game yesterday. We played against West Essex, and I didn't shave because my wife's away. I just didn't have time. I said, Dad, you have a lot of white in your beard. I don't like it. I was like, all right. Anyway, Alexa off. All right, so it was interesting last night. We are traders, tough traders. At 6 o'clock, I always get a lot of tweets from my friends. Like, oh, did you see the futures are up 15? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you know what? We had a oversold bounce into a very targeted area. We probably could go up a little bit this week. Maybe we see 4,100, maybe we see 4,200, and we could still be in a bear market. Bear market bounces happen. Then the Rangers, by the way, what a friggin' awesome overtime goal. After the Rangers game, I looked and I saw, I'm like, oh, the futures are down 10. And then for some reason, I don't know, I had to wake up and go to the bathroom, and the futures are down 30, like 11 o'clock at night or something like that. I'm like, this is a better setup. Why is it a better setup? Because I personally, played the bounce pretty well on Thursday or Friday, but I didn't take many longs over the weekend because I'm like, you know what? I just had a really good week last week. If you remember, 1 week ago, we came in short. I was long Apple puts, Microsoft puts, SPY puts. Midweek, I covered and sold some of those. And then on Thursday, bought some calls in the SPYs, bought the SPYs, had some Facebook, sold some Amazon puts. So it was a really good week. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want to have the overnight risk, have to, the over the weekend risk. So when I saw the futures down, I'm like, you know what? It's a it's a better setup. So anyway, if you look at what's happening around the world, because that's what I check in the morning. Europe's down small. FTSE's up a little bit, DAX is down a little bit. You go to Asia. In Asia, it's kind of interesting what's going on. Obviously, the numbers were very, very light. That's some economic numbers, so COVID is definitely, taking the toll there. But markets didn't care much because they kind of knew you lock down an entire country, your numbers aren't going to be good. But the silver lining there for them is that they're probably a week away from opening everything up, which would help the supply chain, which would get the better news flow. So I'm trying to think of like what could happen news flow wise that that could keep this market moving a little bit to the upside, which would be nice. Oversold bounces are fun. I like them because we're tactical. We can get in there. We can see where the relative strength is, and we can love them and leave them. Right? Back in the day, isn't that what we did before we got married? No, I'm kidding. We didn't do that. Anyway, so some guys like Red Dog, is this a new active sequence where we could be long, maybe not 30 positions, but try and massage 3 to 7 positions for, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I'm like, well, I think today, tomorrow will tell us a lot. So anyway, if you remember, from the highs that we saw in January, we had a pretty big decline down to 410, and this was your March active sequence. Right here, we took back all the moving averages and pretty much went up for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, I made a lot of money. In 2 weeks, you could net a lot of money every day, buying dips, adding to things that are working, especially if they're showing some relative strength. So the question is, now we're lower, right? So here we are. This is 385. Remember the 385? We talked about that months ago. Actually, when we had the April 5th, candle that ended this active sequence, like, where do you think we can go? I'm like, I think we break 410, 415 and get to 385. 22 plus years, that's where the gray comes from. So anyway, we did hit 385, and then all of a sudden reclaimed 391, and then this was Friday. So now what? So if you look at the SPYs right now, I actually just nibbled a little bit on the SPYs. I didn't come in long on the SPYs. They're at 400. Okay, so here is where the SPYs are. We don't need an advertisement. 400-ish. So only down $1.50 after being up 9. Okay, so basically, what is that saying? A little bit of digestion. So if you want to make it really simple, because I'm a simple type of guy, all right, in order to get to 410 to 414, which could happen, right? It could happen. Last time we went through the 21-day, we went all the way, and they really squeezed the bejesus out of the shorts before turning lower. So in order to get to 410 to 414, which would be the prior breakdown area, all we got to do is hold 395, digest a little bit, take out 403, and then you're on your way to 410, 414. How is that going to have to, what would you need for that to happen? Well, you'll need tech to hang in there. You'll need maybe Apple not to go back to the lows of last week. Microsoft hangs in there. Maybe Tesla gives you a push. Oil hangs around. So it's like a bunch of things that need to happen for the SPYs to hold 395 and take out 403 and 410. Doesn't mean it's going to happen today. It could, you can get an inside day. You guys know what an inside day is? An inside day is a digestion day within another candle. And then you get a different type of day. So if we could hold above 395.62 for a day or two and then take out 403, then that's the trade in the Qs. And if you want to look at the chart, the weekly chart, which I was showing you guys, we've seen this before too. Where remember I said, hey, we need to pull at least 20% in the SPYs, to match what we did in the taper tantrum of 2018. Well, we hit 385. Okay, some guys like Red Dog, we need to see 355 for this to be over. I'm like, okay, well, if we don't have to see 355 this week, we might see this over the summer. We might see this after the June, Fed meeting, and then they have to start selling assets. But for now, what's next? Maybe, you map out resistance. Maybe, we hold in here, it takes out this, this is 406, right? And then you have 410, 415, 420. So these are the 3 spots. Last time we hit a low, if you remember we hit a low, went from like 415 up to 462. Okay, that was a pretty big rally, right? That was 35 points. So from 406 to 420, that could be like 24 points if it happens, or maybe just get to 415. So just trying to map out areas. If all of a sudden, SPYs break 395 and Apple is a wet blanket today and Microsoft continues to sell and Tesla, doesn't have any juice whatsoever, then maybe it was just a 2-day rally. I'm kind of thinking you can go a little bit more. So, so if you want to look at a few things, Look at Tesla. Tesla is not the same Tesla as we had here. If you remember, we made a lot of money on this rally. This was the March rally when it broke this little downtrend. Remember, we had this downtrend right here, and we were buying a lot of Tesla through this spot. Okay, and then you had a nice bull flag, and it continued to 1152. You did get a red dog reversal around the 700 pivot. Okay, and then you had a tiny bit of follow through on Friday. I don't know if this is the same type of Tesla, so we'll see. The 751 hold. So I trade Tesla every day, so this is what I'm thinking. Right now it's flattish. The 751 hold, and then does it maybe take out 787 to see the 8 day? That's like a little micro thought process for Tesla. 751 has to hold. Maybe it does an inside day or two, takes out 787, and then 797. But I do think the maximum that Tesla is going to go during this type of move is probably 845. Not going to have a move like this. I don't think it has a move like this. That was great. This move may not be as good. So someone asked me about the XBI. I do still think I made decent money in the XBI last week. On Thursday, I was selling puts in the XBI. So I do think that this rally, if we do see one, is going to be led by the most hated bean down sectors. So I think if you want to buy a dip and you're looking to create a little extra alpha, XBI probably does better percentage-wise than the SPYs. I even think ARK. Yeah, Kathy Wood, ARK. I was targeting the 35, 36 area. I think that could be decent too. So if you want to take a look at the XBI, the XBI is already actually at the 8 day. It took this out, went to the 8 day, so a lot of things didn't. It's been battered and bruised. Where could the XBI get to? I guess it can get to like the 21 day. So there's money there, okay, if you didn't get caught in it. Last time we had a nice sequence in the XBI, went from 80 to 97, then you had a red dog reversal, broke this spot, and then we didn't touch it again. So maybe there's a nice little bounce that could take you to the 72 area. This is what I said before. Bounce can go to 69 to 72. Went to 69. Well, now maybe you can go to 72. Look at the weekly chart, though. The weekly chart gave you so many clues, okay, to get out of the way, right? Here was your red dog reversal top on the weekly. That was the 8 day breaking the accelerated trend, and then you had your range, blah, blah, blah. So look where it came down to. So maybe there's some room to here. So maybe you can make some money tactically buying the XBI to there. Maybe sell some puts, however you want to do it. Also ARK. I think ARK hit a spot too. ARK hit it. Look at that. I drew this 35. Actually, this was 32. Anyway, this too. Technically, there was no reason to be in ARK more than a trade for the last year and a half. And there's probably still not a big reason, except for maybe it wants to bounce back up to 52. So if the SPYs are going to hit 410, okay, in the coming week, maybe ARK could hit 52-ish, right? Which would be a nice rally, right? Just to the 8 day. We've seen this before. It's been getting rejected at the 8 day pretty much since November, since the break of 113. So that's how stretched to the downside it is. So that's her. So you can look at all of her names. Like, you can look at the DocuSign and the Zoom and the Palantir and those guys if you want to trade the individual stocks, or you could just trade you could trade ARK and the sector itself. So I do think you could focus on ARK and the small cap bios. Their RSI is so damn low. And then also look at the SPYs and the Qs. Qs had a move off of 284. Very similar. Let me just get to the daily for you. Okay, here's the daily. We're going to make it very, very simple. I'm a very simple guy. Okay, in order to see 312 to 316, it's got to hold 294. So maybe into this down open, maybe if you think you're going to miss a rally, maybe you buy the 303 calls for this Friday and you sell the 310s. This way you put on a call spread. You can maybe make 200%. So this way, if the market does continue to have an oversold bounce, you have some kind of call spread on in the Qs. Not so bad, right? And you could trade it. Same thing. As far as crypto, it's going to take so much time to rebuild confidence in crypto. I wouldn't be in any kind of rush. Friggin' 400 billion in market cap on that lunar mess. But if you look at Bitcoin, it looks like you had your capitulation type move, but no one seems like they're in a rush to be buying Bitcoin. Which if anything, I would just be in either Bitcoin or Ethereum. Don't go for the altcoins because, as you can see, they could be a zero. So I do think it's going to change that for a little bit. So here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin at 25,000 had to bounce back up to 31. not very spirited, not a big bounce. You had to have a good till cancel order in there to make any money. I had a good till cancel order in Ethereum. I bought Ethereum at 1760. That was my way to trade around this mess. Where could it get to? You know, this low pivot here was like 32.9. So maybe if it wants to, we can get to that. Remember when it broke 37K right there? That was that ascending channel that helped get you out of the way for this move. So I would say 32 to 37, you know, would be your bounceable area. And that's kind of like 4,100 to 4,200 in the S&P. You know, crypto has been like technology on steroids. So basically it's been leading the risk appetite. So watch it. It's not an inflation hedge. It's, you know, it's not a, you know, a hedge against the world ending. It's really just another risk asset that trades well technically, and you could have gotten out of the way right here when it broke the 821 day. If you read my ebook about the 821 day, you reduce risk when anything that has anything to do with momentum breaks the 821 day. Anyway, so watch crypto. It had a little bit of a bounce. You know, this could be just a bear flag developing, and then you go back to the weekly chart. If the S&P wants to go back lower and this and that, and you know, here's your this is the weekly chart. The weekly chart also, that's where it broke 37K. So this is all we are right here. So the longer it stays below this 33 or even 37, the higher the probability you know, Bitcoin's not done going down. So you have a little bit of an oversold move here. So if we're going to continue to the downside over the summer and this bear market's not over, chances are Bitcoin's probably going to see 20 to 20 this area. So I would continue to be very patient and let the crypto market rebuild mentally, and you know, just the charts have to take time, and you have to get some confidence back there. And this has been a leading indicator, and you've had ways to trade this technically. 63, look at this breakout failure. Didn't get above and stay above. It got above and failed. Here is where, you know, broke that inside range with the 8 day. Lower high, broke 37, got all the way down to almost 24. Technicals, not opinions. Anyway, so I'm in the camp where I played the bounce pretty well. I didn't go nuts, but I made good money. Now the futures are a little bit soft, so I'm going to see, you know, what could I go with today to go from red to green. You know what's been acting kind of better? Facebook. Facebook, definitely to me. You know, I made a lot of money in Facebook late last week. Facebook has a decent little pattern here. You know, so we'll see if Facebook can clear this spot and get into the 200 area. Right now you had a little red dog reversal. Maybe it gets above 199. Maybe you can buy it to go from red to green. So Facebook is something I will be looking at to probably buy today to go green for a trade. I'm going to watch Apple. What does Apple do? Does Apple hold 143? If you remember, we made really good money when I shorted Apple right around 153. I had the 150 puts that went from like 250 to $6 or $7. That was great. And I made money short Apple. Usually, you know, Red Dog doesn't like to short much. I get made fun of for that. But we did really well with Microsoft and Apple last week. So now what? In order for the SPYs to have an oversold bounce, maybe Apple holds 143 and retests this 150 to 151 area. So we'll see what happens with Apple. Same thing with Microsoft. Microsoft is, you know, if it holds 255, maybe it wants to take out 263 and see 270 where it'll be like a lot of resistance. It doesn't have to be today. Both those things are probably down small. And then if you want to look at AMD real quick, AMD, you know, had a very feisty candle. Feisty candle. You had a red dog reversal at 84. That was Thursday, and then it led the way on Friday. So I'm sure AMD is probably down a little bit this morning with the futures, right? What's AMD doing? AMD is down 87 cents. So there's AMD. After being up 8, it's only down 87 cents. So to me, most things are hanging in there and digesting, and a little bit of softness to be absorbed is a better setup than if we just were up 30, 40 handles, because then it would be the 3-day move and people would be like, all right, there's their oversold bounce. So now maybe we could buy something with some weakness. They go green. Now maybe we hold for a few days and then we see where they can go. So Shop I have no interest in, which actually, you know what, Shop probably, you know, if ARK is going to have a bounce to 52, Shop is in the game for an oversold bounce, and so are all those broken names. Just make sure you know your levels, you don't chase it, and you figure out where they can go. At this point, though, it's 6:49. I got to get going. Thank you for tuning in, my dogs. So again, we'll see. Can we digest a little bit today, go green, and then continue last week's oversold bounce this week, but then we don't get too excited, we don't get too caught up, because by the time you know who goes on TV and gets bullish again, that's probably going to be the end of the oversold rally. You know, it might be 3 days, it might be a week and a half. You don't know. We don't have another Fed meeting until June. They're not going to start selling assets till June, and it's only May 16th, so there's a bunch of time. Listen, you have a great day as well. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure you work on your process, your plan, and put a damn race on the calendar so this way you can sweat it out. I love sweating it out. I do my 500 reps in the sauna. The rinse and repeat is what keeps you, thinking clearly so you can execute with confidence. So if you also have a bad day at work, it's not a bad day in life. It's just another day in the life. And if you have a great day, you know what? Don't go out and celebrate too much. Stay even keel. Even keel is what wins long term.